What is going on, Amazon FBA sellers? This is Rob here. I'm going to try and make this real quick. In this video, I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to show you how to create a storefront URL. And I'm going to explain how to use that storefront URL to distribute to your launch list and the amount of sales that you will need to rank on the first page for whatever keywords you're going after. And we're going to be using Helium 10 to determine that. So real quick, I am not going to edit this down. I'm just going to give it to you raw. Just don't have time today. Got to get a lot of things done. So I apologize in advance if you hear a lot of ums and pauses and I sound like an idiot. It's just, it's early and I haven't had my second cup of coffee yet. So here we go. So you want to launch and you're trying to get links to send out to people who will be purchasing your product. Basically what the storefront URL does is it allows you to give people links with keywords embedded in them so that instead of them having to physically go to Amazon and search for the keyword you're going after and scroll to page 50, you can just send them this link and it's right there for them and you'll get the hit for that keyword. So in order to do this, you would go over to Amazon, you would find your store. Amazon. You'd find your store and we're going to go with manual coffee grinder. The reason I'm using this is because it's actually a product that I launched and it was successful. But I don't sell it anymore now, and I'll get to that in a bit. So manual coffee grinder, all right? And we are going to use the top seller here, Java Press. We're going to say that we're Java Press, okay? So to get the storefront URL, you would need to go to your storefront. And our storefront for this example is Java Press. So, come on now. So you go to the storefront, and you're going to come up here. Now that we're in the storefront, now that we're in our storefront, we're going to come up to the search bar, and we're going to search for a keyword. So let's say that we want to rank for manual coffee grinder. Stainless steel. That way the other thing doesn't. Stainless steel manual coffee grinder. Okay, well that guy's ranking for it too. So this is our storefront URL. This is what you would provide to your launch list or your friends and family, those who are interested in buying this from you in order to rank for this keyword term. And you would provide that to them, and they would then click on it, and they would come to a page, the same exact page, and then because they know what they're purchasing, they would just click into here and then purchase it. And you would get credit for that sale for the keyword phrase stainless steel manual coffee grinder. So as you can see up here in the link, keywords equals stainless steel manual coffee grinder. Perfect. So it's simple as just copying this and sending it to your launch list. And yeah, I've already said that a million times. You get the point. So you might have noticed here I have some data that appears above all of my listings. This is Helium 10 data. It's an extension that I downloaded from Helium 10 and it's for free. So you can go to helium10.com and get this. It's great if you're trying to do product research instead of having to go into the listing and finding this. It's right there for you, right? It's right there for you without having to do anything. So you could also do Jungle Scout, but honestly, this cost money, the Jungle Scout extension, and this was free. So I would just go with the Helium 10. So that was a bunny trail. What we're going to want to do to find out the amount of sales we're going to have for this keyword on a daily basis is to rank on page 1 is we're going to take the ASIN and we're going to go over to Helium 10. Helium 10. And we're going to go down to Cerebro, which is the reverse ASIN search tool. And reverse ASIN search basically gives you all the keywords that a product is indexing for. We're going to do this. This is a search I've done before, so obviously I have because I've sold coffee grinders before. Now, before I really get into explaining what all this data means, let me explain why Helium 10 is, in my opinion, the best keyword research tool and why I think you should be using it. Now, I know it's going to come across as though I'm selling this to you, and I do have an affiliate link below. Keep in mind, you can sign up for a free version of Helium 10 and get, I think it's like 1 or 2 uses of Cerebro per day. So you don't have to purchase a membership. But the reason why Helium 10 is better than just about any other keyword research tool out there is because the data comes straight from Amazon. I'm not going to name any other names besides merchant words because I think everyone should know at this point that merchant words does not come from Amazon, but there's a bunch of other services out there that don't come from Amazon. But be wary about which services you use because you're not going to get the right data. And if you're using merchant words, it's not a bad tool to get a basic idea of how many searches there are per month, but it's not great if you're trying to get real accurate data. They use Google, Bing, and a bunch of other search engines outside of Amazon to get their data. So anyway, I just want to give you that background. So we're in Helium 10, and I'm going to export this to Excel. Because unfortunately, what I do for a living is basically work in Excel all day. I'm trying to get away from that. And now that we're in Excel, let me explain all of these fields to you. So this is the phrase. This is the Cerebro IQ score, which is a score that basically says how great of a keyword it is that you're going after. The higher the better, the lower the worse. So mill grinder sucks. It's the lowest you could possibly be. And then in column C, you have your exact phrase search volume. So exact phrase, for those of you who don't know, means that someone literally typed in this exact phrase. Broad phrase means that they typed in a variation of this phrase. It wasn't exactly this, but it contained all these words. Now, one thing you need to be cautious about and cognizant of is that some of these keywords are the keywords of a brand. So AeroPress, that is a brand, and it's against Amazon's terms of service to have a trademark brand inside of your listing anywhere. So that includes your back end. Now, it's very hard for somebody to catch on to this just because you could run a PPC campaign and index for a trademark brand. But it is possible for your competitor, if they're trademarked and they see that you're indexed, to complain to Amazon and say, hey, these guys have to have my keyword in their back end because they're getting a lot of sales for my keyword phrase. So just make sure that you don't have a trademark name anywhere in your listing. And if you do, you've been warned. And you probably won't get caught, but it just, this is a business, a long-term thing. You don't want to risk your listing. So what I like to do first is I like to search this from the highest volume to the lowest. And these other columns, basically you have your competition. So coffee grinder is a very competitive product. I would not suggest going after it because you would have to have a lot of money and you'd have to give away a lot of product. And it's just still like extremely competitive. What you would have to do to rank is you would have to give away 300 units per day over at least an 8-day period to rank on page 1. So you would take that storefront URL, you'd go to your storefront and you would search coffee grinder, and that would be your storefront URL, and you would have to use that to distribute to 300 people every day for at least 8 days to rank. And that's another important part to come to is inventory planning. If you have not already bought all of your inventory, or even if you have, you can use Helium 10 to determine how much inventory you will need in order to avoid a stock out. So say that you're just starting, you've already bought all your inventory, and you only have 1,000 units. This clearly is not a word you would want to go after, because if you had to give away 300 units per day over an 8-day period, you would exhaust all of your inventory after like the fourth day, midway through the 4th day. And that would be stupid of you. But there's other keywords in here that might be good for you. For instance, hand grinder. That might be good for you. And there's others. Essentially, you want to make sure that you have at least 90 days worth of inventory. And once again, the way to know that is to accumulate all of your keywords that you're going to be ranking number 1 for, and to see the sales per day that you're going to get for those, and then multiply that times 90 days. If that number is greater than the inventory that you've already ordered, then you're not going to want to go for all those keywords because you're going to have a stock out, and that will be a problem. If you haven't ordered inventory yet, then that's a great way to know the amount of inventory you will need. Now, I can attest to this personally. I launched a manual coffee grinder back in January, toward the end of January. I was able to rank on the first page within a very short period of time. I believe by day 4 or 5, I was on page 1 using this CPR strategy. Manny Coates developed it. In fact, Manny Coates owns Helium 10. For those of you who aren't familiar with the AMPN podcast, I highly suggest going and subscribing to Manny Coates' YouTube channel and listening to everything that he puts out there, because he puts out, in my opinion, the best information. Better than anything. Better than The Amazing Seller. Better than any YouTube channel I've seen thus far that's free. Obviously, you can pay for a course, and you're going to get pretty freaking good content that way. But if you want free content, Manny Coates, his podcast is definitely the way to go. So, this strategy worked for me. I got onto page 1 in the first few days, and the bad part was I did not plan my inventory. So I'm trying to help you avoid the pitfall I fell into. I sold out of all my inventory in 3 weeks. Now, I was an idiot because I only bought 300 units, and some of you who are new might think, well, that's a lot of money that you put out there, and you're taking a big risk by investing, in 300 units. If you invested any more, how do you know it would work? Well, number one, this strategy works. At least to date, it works. We're in March now, and I did this a month and a half ago. So unless something's changed, this strategy still works. So I'm confident in it. What doesn't work is when you have a stock out, because you have to close your listing to preserve that history. And if no hijackers come in, you can reopen your listing and you don't have to relaunch, and you'll be fine. But if you're selling something as generic as a manual coffee grinder, then you're going to have a whole lot of hijackers. So there's a lot of people who have launched this product unsuccessfully, and they have a lot of inventory. And there's a lot of Chinese accounts where they've manufactured this stuff and it's just sitting and they're trying to get rid of it. So they hijack closed listings. And that's what happened to me. I had a whole bunch of hijackers jump onto my listing and they destroyed it. I now will not be able to relaunch. I could relaunch, but it won't be easy. And it's probably not going to be worth it. So I've just scratched this product altogether, even though I was able to sell 300 in 3 weeks. The lesson, once again, is plan your inventory. Don't have a stock out, or else you'll have hijackers come in and destroy your listing once it's closed, and you'll be screwed. Trying to think if there's anything else I can give you here. The one thing that I think is very important when you are creating your listing is to see what keywords are in the titles of all of your competitors. One of the reasons why I was very successful in my launch is because I was one of the only listings on Amazon that had hand coffee grinder in my title. If you search manual coffee grinder, and it could be different now, someone else could have come in. Let me get that apostrophe out of there. You will see, oh, I'm still in their storefront. Let's go to Amazon.com. So you will see that most of these listings, the title, they have manual coffee grinder, manual coffee grinder, manual coffee grinder. Heck, if I even search in here hand coffee grinder, right? There's still not many listings that are hand coffee grinder, right? These are still all hand mill, adjustable, and then manual coffee grinder. So the reason I'm telling you this is that the first few words in your title are the most important. And what I found was that not many people had hand coffee grinder as the first few words in their title. And that was actually a decent keyword. So if I search for it here, hand, it should show up. I just got an Apple, so I'm used to using the Excel version, the Windows version. So here's hand coffee grinder. As you can see, this is not like, for somebody that's new, this is a pretty decent keyword. There's about 10 sales a day for this keyword, for the top people that are ranking for this keyword. And so that's what I was going after. I was going after all the variations of hand coffee grinder, hand burr coffee grinder, all of those, all the low-hanging fruit. And I ranked extremely fast because it was in my title. I was one of the only listings that had this in my title. And I just wanted to give you guys that golden nugget because I really think there's a lot to be said about having keywords in your titles that you don't see your competitors having. That way you have an advantage. You can lock down whatever that keyword is and rank for it much easier. So anyway, I just basically gave you my whole coffee grinder strategy. You could probably still launch a coffee grinder and use hand coffee grinder in your title and have the success that I did. But you would have to have enough inventory and differentiate yourself a little bit and realize that there's a lot of competing products. So anyway, it's not the best product to launch, and I learned that. It's hindsight 2020. And I'm rambling on now, so I'm going to end this video. So down below, I've included a link to Helium 10. Once again, it's an affiliate link. You don't need to purchase the Helium 10 membership if you don't want to, because you can get a few free uses of Cerebro per day for free. But if you are very serious about your business and you're very serious about finding successful products and doing inventory planning, and you need more than a few searches per day, I highly suggest getting the membership and throwing me a bone, which would be awesome. So anyway, if you have any questions, just throw them in the comment box below, and like this channel or subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll try to put more content out there for you guys. So, all right, have a great day.